In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better. Stay safer. Crimson Trace.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, broadcasting nationwide. Have a question? Want to make a comment? Call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. That's 866-825-5486. Or you can send us an email, tom@guntalk.com. Now, here's Tom Gresham.
All righty, back with you. So glad that you could be with us. We're continuing to talk about, of course, the murders in Chattanooga, Tennessee. 5 service members now. Looks like 4 Marines, 1 Navy personnel have died as a result of their wounds from a terrorist attack. And I've been talking about this for months, actually for years now, telling you, I know it sounds crazy, but this stuff is coming. Well, you know what? It's been coming. It's been here. It's here. It's going to continue. The only question is, are you prepared in any form or fashion? Have you accepted it on mentally first? You got to accept it mentally. Not just that, but just there are bad people out there. I don't care if they're trying to steal your wallet or take your car or steal your kid or whatever they're out there doing. You simply have to be prepared for whatever it is. And as I mentioned before, I really don't care what their motive is. Everybody wants to say, well, what's his motive? Who cares? His motive is to kill people. You really don't have time to work on the whole what's his motive thing when it's an attack. Also, you know that for not just years, for decades, I've been telling you, if you want to get really good training with self-defense, with firearms, shotguns, rifles, handguns, all of it, get yourself out to Arizona, to Gunsite, the Harvard of gunfighting schools. And now I see just a new release that just came out. Now Gunsite classes are available on the East Coast in Richmond, Virginia. Joining me right now is Buz Mills from Gunsite, the owner. Hey, Buz, how you doing?
Good afternoon, Tom. It's great to be here with you. We're doing great.
So you're going East Coast on us, eh?
Well, when I grew up in Southern Virginia way back decades ago, and we won't go into that, but I had dark hair then, and that's pretty much all gone now. And the folks at Commonwealth Shooting Academy in Richmond they've converted a furniture store and put 20-some ranges in there,
wow,
including a tactical range and an indoor shoot house. So they've got just a tremendous facility there, and I got together with them last year, and we talking back and forth, and they've been to Gunsite and that sort of thing, and it looks like we'll be able to do something there. So one of the great things about it, of course, I was in Virginia for many years, and in the summertime, this is probably even more valuable in the summertime. In August and September in Richmond, if you can shoot indoors in a completely climate-controlled environment, 70 degrees year-round, it is really saying something, because I've crawled through a lot of woods and forests in Virginia in that time of the year, and I'm telling you, it can get to be miserable. We have the best of all worlds here in Arizona, because while we're in Arizona and we don't have a lot of inclement weather, I always tell people we have 375 days of sunshine every year in Arizona. But where we are, we're up in the mountains. We're at 5,000 feet, so we don't have that temperature that the folks have to suffer with down the valley in Phoenix.
Right.
So
right.
We've got the best of all worlds here. And that's the second best, I think, is the facility like Colonial has there in Richmond is going to be just great. We've got Ken Campbell, the chief operating officer now at Gunsite, and a couple of our longtime instructors. One fellow is a retired longtime police officer, and another one is a retired Marine colonel. We're going to kick off the first class there in September. But it'll be a 250 class, and we look forward to meeting a bunch of folks there from Richmond.
That is terrific, Buzz. Now, let me ask you, you're a Marine, obviously, and you own and run the premier gunfighting training facility in the country. You not only get a lot of just regular folks, men and women, citizens coming through there, you also have military folks coming through, law enforcement, special forces units. You get to talk to a lot of different people. I've been saying for some time that people need to get their heads around the whole idea that this Islamic terrorism is not just coming, but it's here. And then this week we have this shooting in Chattanooga. What I'd like to do is just kind of get your thoughts on that whole subject.
Well, my thoughts on the subject are when these people show up, we need to kill them. And that's pretty much the end of the story as far as I'm concerned. You know, we take these young men and women and we train them. It's now the unarmed forces of America, but it used to be the armed forces when I was in there. And we train these young people. The biggest drawback, the biggest thing that I see that is keeping these people disarmed is the commander's annual or semi-annual, however often they do it, fitness report. Because if one of his people has a negligent discharge, it's a black mark against this guy, and so he won't get promoted to colonel or lieutenant colonel or brigadier general or whatever it is because somebody did something stupid. But you know, we rarely ever have a negligent discharge at Gunsite. Right. And when we do, they're always in a safe direction because you know our four rules at Gunsite. Sure. You cannot have a negligent discharge that hits somebody. As long as
if you follow the four rules,
you live by the rules. You know,
I tell people it may be embarrassing. Yeah, it may be embarrassing, but it's not going to be catastrophic.
Exactly. You know, you have to break two of the four rules to get meat, and so you know all guns are always loaded. We don't say all guns are always thought to be loaded or treat all guns as if. No, all guns are always loaded. I don't care if you just checked it; it's still loaded. You know, never let the muzzle cover anything you're not willing to destroy. So you don't cover anything with your muzzle. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target, and always be sure of your target. So if you violate one, nobody's going to get hurt. But if you violate two, you can get meat. And we drill that into people here from day one. And it's interesting. You know, we're doing a lot with youngsters now, and we've had two 250 classes for a youth program, we call it, and their early teens is when we want to see these youngsters here. So I took my granddaughter and put her in the first class we did, which was last year. That was in June, and then in October I was back in Richmond, and we went over to Colonial again, and so she and I could do a little shooting in there. And we were there, and some fella, I don't know, middle-aged fella, maybe 50 years old or so, was down the line from us, and he turned around with his muzzle and swept everybody in the place, you know. So the granddaughter's 13, she jumps right out there and says, "Hey, don't do that. You just flagged everybody on the range." And the guy said, "Oh, gee, I'm sorry," you know. But it's that kind of awareness. And,
excellent.
And
that is just fabulous.
We're trained in these recruiting offices and military installations. I don't see any reason that they should be denied the right that every other American has off the base to carry a firearm. But these people that we know are trained, we've trained them, and we deny them the right, just so some guy doesn't get a bad mark on his annual report.
Let me ask, let's spin it up even further than the military, just everybody who's out there. Now, I just read we have maybe as many as 13 million people have carry permits. Of course, in a lot of states, you don't even have to have a permit these days. And yet I keep hearing the same old things of, well, gee, you know, can you really stop a fight? Nobody's really stopped an attacker with a gun. Of course, we know that happens all the time. You get all this silly stuff out there. You know, what are you seeing any difference in the makeup of your clientele coming through the Gunsite now?
The biggest difference we're seeing, Tom, is women. We're going to see a lot of women. You know, a dozen years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, you would see a woman in, one of every 3 250 classes. And now we have 6 in every class, 7, 8.
Wow.
So what is that, a 600% increase or something on that order?
Yeah, well, what you're describing is a quarter to a third of your students may be women at this point.
Yes, they are.
Wow.
You'll have 6 or 7 women in a class of 24, 25 at Gunsite, the 250 class. They don't come back so much for the more advanced intermediate and the advanced classes. Mm-hmm. The women don't, but what they will do is they'll come back in 3 years and take the 250 class again.
Which is fine. You know, coming back and taking the 250 class again in 2 or 3 years is a great idea.
Well, you know, my wife and I did that 30 years ago. We used to go about every 2 or 3 years when we could get the time and go take a 250 class, and because that was you know, that got us up to speed and with all the safety and whatever was current in the threat landscape out there, we were made aware of it. So we used to do that.
Exactly. Buzz, hold on just a second here. I need to take a quick break. I want to pick this up on the backside. We'll be talking with Buz Mills from Gunsite. If you want to see the website, it's GUNSITE, gunsite.com. Be right back.
Who will you trust with your guns and valuables? Liberty safes are the best built and most secure safes on the planet. They sell more gun safes than any other brand. It's about trust earned through performance. If your Liberty safe is damaged by fire or attempted break-in, they'll send a new safe right to your home. Protection from thieves and fire. Trust the #1 maker of quality gun safes. LibertySafe.com.
Brownells has always given you an advantage. With their huge selection of forever guaranteed gun parts, ammunition, shooting accessories, and more. And now, they're offering you the Edge. For just $49.95, Brownells Edge covers your standard shipping and any return shipping cost for 1 year. Brownells Edge members also receive discount expedited shipping and exclusive offers. Get the Edge today by visiting brownells.com/edge.
To be truly protected, if you use your firearm in self-defense, you need to carry more than just a gun. You need to carry firearms legal protection. If something happens, you get the very best legal representation. So protect your family. Add your financial security for less than $10 a month. Learn more at firearmslegal.com. That's firearmslegal.com. If you're going to carry, you better carry firearms legal protection.
If you're gonna carry, you better carry firearms legal protection.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SIGTAC accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit sigsauer.com today.
All right, we're talking with Buz Mills. Buzz, I told you I was going to keep you 10 minutes. I lied because we just have way too much fun every time we get together and talk. You know that.
I enjoyed your comments. You're talking to the young lady, I think she was from Baton Rouge, about buying a gun, and the advice you gave her was 100% spot on. I'm glad you did that. She. I'll tell you what, it was worth her Sunday afternoon to make that phone call.
Well, I appreciate that. It's one of the things that you get the same questions I do. People, they start off and say, well, I'm thinking about getting a gun for self-defense. What gun should I get? And I always say, don't buy a gun first. Buy instruction first, because until you know how to use it and what you're going to do with it, you have no way of knowing which gun's right for you.
That's it. And that's why we have so many different calibers and so many different kinds of guns, and some big ones, little ones, revolvers, semi-autos, 22s, 9mm, 38 Super. It goes on and on. But the bottom line is the best gun for you is the gun that you can manage and shoot well.
Now, I want people to understand that this is Gunsite. This is Buz Mills at Gunsite saying this, because I know there are people who think, well, Gunsite, all they talk about is 1911s and 45s, and that has not been the case for many years now. You guys basically are telling people, use what works.
For 20 years, probably, it has not been, 1911s. I grew up on 1911s, and so I'm partial to 1911s. But there's a lot of good firearms out there. The modern pistols, striker-fired pistols, polymer guns are good guns. Glock makes them, Springfield makes them, Smith & Wesson makes them, and all these guns, they have different grips, different grip angles. They feel different. They shoot different, and folks need to you need to shoot some guns and find the gun that works the best, that you can manage the best. That's the gun for you.
Okay, I got a question for you. I'm sure it has happened. Maybe it's happened a lot. I don't know. Do you get contacted by students who've ended up having to use the skills that they picked up at Gunsite?
We do. We do often, and it's I can't tell you how pleased these people are when they call. They say, I was on patrol the other night and I got the call to go check a building or whatever, and I came around the corner and there was a guy with a gun there, and these people without fail always say, if it hadn't been for the training I had at Gunsite, I wouldn't be alive for my family today. And you made mention of something else earlier in the show. You said you have to make the decision that you're going to take a life a long time before you ever arrive at that point. And that is one of the big things that we stress in our mental conditioning lecture on Wednesdays in the 250 class. And what Jeff Cooper, what the colonel said about it, 30 years ago, 40 years ago now, Gunsite is 39 years old this year, but he called it a mental trigger, and he said, okay, if this guy does this, then I'm going to kill him. If he does this, I'm going to kill him. If he does this, so he sets in each situation, the mindset has already been arrived at that we can take a life. And then
what you've done,
you have is a mental trigger.
I was just going to say, you've set out, in essence, mental tripwires to say, okay, I don't have to analyze it when it's all happening at lightning speed. I've already decided that if somebody runs at me with a knife, I'm going to shoot. If somebody grabs my kid and tries to take them, I'm going to do what I have to do. You've already lined those out, but that's best done in your easy chair at home when you can give it some serious thought and really work it through. And that what do they call it? Mental pre-visualization. That really works.
Yep. Cooper called it a mental trigger when, if he does this, I'm going to shoot. And that's what he called it. But the situation with
go ahead. I was going to say, what it also does is allows you to analyze a situation and say, okay, he hasn't done that yet, so I don't have to shoot. So I know some people are thinking, well, all you're doing is thinking about how can I get to shoot somebody. Now, what you're actually doing is saying there are only a few situations where I'm going to use my gun, but it sets it up to say, okay, if all he's doing is standing back there and yelling at me, that's not a situation that I've already decided hits my trigger. So you actually are setting it up so that there are a lot of places where you're not going to pull your gun and shoot.
Well, most of the time you're not. Most of the time you're not going to pull your gun, and you're only going to do it if somebody trips that mental trigger. Once they cross that threshold, then you make a move. But somebody hollering at you or whatever, people flipping you off in traffic and stuff like that. That's just ignorant. Just ignore
That's
that.
It. I had a guy, believe it or not, passed me going about 30 miles an hour over the speed limit just the other day, this past week, gets to a stoplight, of course. We're all stopped together. But I see what's going on, so I stopped way back. I'm giving this guy like 5 links in front of me. And he sits there and he's spinning his tires like a drag racer and smoke's coming up everywhere. And I'm thinking, just do it, whatever you want to do, buddy. I am not going to engage you. We're not doing this right here. And let him go on his way. And then I went on my way. And, I don't get caught up in the ego of all that.
No, it's not necessary. If it comes right down to it, it's all kind of silly. The guy is probably the last guy in the world can afford to be buying multiple sets of tires a year to be sitting there and burning them up.
That was my wife's comment. She said, I bet he's not paying for those tires.
Absolutely. He's not, or he wouldn't be doing it.
That's it. Well, Buzz, I got to tell you, I just got a note typed in here. Michelle, our call screener, she says, I want to take your class. She wants to go to Gunsite. So now she can go to either direction, west or east. Well,
yeah, you get the real Gunsite if you come out to Arizona. We're going to have real Gunsite training in Richmond, but you won't have the flavor of the West.
That's true. And I've always said the Gunsite's one of my favorite places on earth. I like the people. I like the fact that everybody there, from the receptionist to the maintenance people to everybody else, are all open carrying. They all know what they're doing, and it's one of the most polite places you'll ever be.
Yeah, well, it has to be. An armed society.
It has to be. Society. Absolutely right. I appreciate your time, Buzz. Look, thank you so much. And look, the website is Gunsite, GUNSITE.com. Tell the folks there hello for me, if you would.
I'll do it.
All right, you take care, Buzz. I appreciate it. So much of my personal ethos on self-defense, of taking care of my family, came from my first class there. And I've told people, I said, there's almost nothing else I can tell you where if you do this thing, it will change your life forever. I can tell you that your first class at Gunsite will do that for you. It will change your life. You'll never think of yourself the same. You'll walk a little bit straighter. You'll be a little bit more confident. It's an incredible experience. Gunsite, GUNSITE.com. So what trainers are you working with? You finding some good ones in your area? I'd like to find out more about it. Give me a holler, 866-TALK-GUN, 866-TALK-GUN.
Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All righty. Man, I always like talking with Buzz from Gunsite. I mean, you know how much I like that place. It's great. Just love that place. If I could, I would get out there 2 or 3 times a year, take all their classes. They'd rifle, pistol, shotgun. They even do an edged weapons class. Yeah, knife fighting. Yeah. You ever see a knife expert? It'll scare the devil out of you. Okay, I thought this was not going to be released until tomorrow. I knew something was coming. I wasn't sure. We should get ours tomorrow. Our rifle should appear at our gun store where we get our stuff tomorrow. New from Ruger. The Ruger Precision Rifle. This thing looks like an AR-10 semi-auto 308, but it's a bolt action with an adjustable stock and lots of other cool features. Stock has multiple QD sling attachments. It's got a multi-magazine interface, patent pending, interchangeable with different types of magazines, chambered in 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, and 243. Comes with 2 10-round Magpul magazines, free-floated barrel, Cole, Ford, hammer forge. It goes on and on. This is going to be a serious long-range rifle, and it's quite a departure for Ruger. I'm excited about this. I cannot wait to get my grimy paws on this thing. It just looks really cool. Oh, the New York Times has figured out a new way to do gun control. In their opinion pages, which, by the way, they never allow comments. Cowards. They never allow comments on their editorials on the New York Times website. But what they're saying is that 3 years ago, President Obama went to Newtown, Connecticut, and he told them, "Do not lose heart. I will use whatever power this office holds to push for gun control." And they're saying, well, he hasn't done that yet. But here's something he could do. Use the purchasing power of the federal government to coerce gun companies into doing what's not required of them by law. Yeah, he says they say that major gun makers depend upon taxpayer-funded purchases. You know, Glock, Smith, Sig, Beretta, they all have contracts with various federal agencies. So what the New York Times idea is, all right, here's what we'll do. We won't buy your guns. We, the federal government, won't buy your guns. In order for you to get a contract from us, you have to tell us that you'll no longer follow the law on, you will force your dealers. Okay, this is like three-step deal. This is weird. Somehow Ruger is going to force individual dealers, which own their stores individually, it's not owned by Ruger, to change the way the local dealer does business so that if a background check is delayed, and according to the law, the store can release the firearm after 3 days. But the New York Times says, no, what we want is for the feds to tell Ruger to tell the gun companies that, well, you can't get a gun from us unless you refuse to sell a gun even though it's allowed by law. I know it's twisted. Come on, it's the New York Times. They're bizarre. What are you going to do? Line 2, Shorty's with us out of Gillette, Wyoming. Hey, Shorty, what you been working on?
I've been working on a Mosin Nagant.
Okay.
And what I run into with it was I bought a good Leopold pistol scope. I got the B-square mount that mounts to the rear sight, and I mounted this pistol scope. It's supposed to be the good one it's just a little 4-power, but it's supposed to be for the 460 and, your larger caliber handguns.
Okay.
And it come apart inside. The crosshairs started to rotate. I sent it back to Leopold. They fixed it, sent it back. I installed it again. We got a good 0 at 50 yards. Got a couple around the bull at 100 yards. This was using the Winchester ammunition from the gun store. So I know it was good. I wasn't using any of the surplus ammo. And all of a sudden it started walking up the page, and I was adjusting down. Well, I finally run out of adjustment. Is it?
Okay.
With the recoil on something like this, I mean, it's comparable to like a 30-06.
Yeah. It's not honestly, it's not a lot of recoil. All right, let me ask you a question. What did the scope company, what did Loophole say when they sent the scope back to you? Did they say there was a problem that they fixed?
Yeah, they had to fix it because the crosshairs come loose and started rotating in the scope.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to understand. Help me with this because I'm not that familiar with the Mosin Nagant. It takes a longer eye relief scope, so you're using a pistol scope instead of a rifle scope. Is that correct?
Well, yes, because of the way the bolt is on it, it's a straight out bolt.
You got to mount the scope forward. I got you. Okay, I got you. Well, first of all, no, that's not something that should be an issue, and certainly the recoil of this rifle is not so much that it should tear up a scope. Now, if you're seeing the second time around, you described that the shots were walking, and you have to keep adjusting the scope. It could be the scope, but it also obviously could be the mount. And I'm not sure how you check, other than maybe throwing another scope on there and seeing if the mount is moving on you somehow.
That's kind of what the conclusion I come to. I'll get another scope and see if I can.
I think that's probably that's the logical troubleshooting, because what you want to do is find out, you got two variables right now. You got a scope and you got a mount. And we don't know which one is the issue.
Absolutely. Everything on the mount, when it was mounted, it was done torqued and the torque and the Loctite and everything. And looking it over, wiggling it and checking, it doesn't look like the mount has moved at all. When I did bring it back down to shoot at the 50-yard target, it was shooting off on that also. Way off.
Yeah, I think what we've got to narrow this thing down. It's we got two variables. Get you another scope, throw it in there, even if you have to borrow one from somebody. See what's going on. If it works and everything stays stable, then it's probably the scope. At that point, I would have a conversation with Loophole because they stand behind their stuff. They've got that guarantee. They should take care of that. But yeah, at this point, I think you got to figure out which one it is. So I hope that works out for you. 866-TALK-GUN, 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable concealable holsters on the planet, introduces the Cloak Tuck 3.0 IWB holster. This all-new concealed carry holster improves the original design with a sturdy spring steel and ballistic nylon core, covered with a soft neoprene backing for ultimate comfort. You have to try this holster to believe it. Get yours now for as low as $43.88 at aliengearholsters.com.
You're at a gun store and your phone tells you about hot deals. Want to know about special offers? No problem when you have Gun Dealio, the free app for your smartphone. Gun Dealio delivers the latest deals on guns, ammo, and extras direct to your phone. Don't overpay for your shooting gear. Get Gun Dealio. It's free at the App Store and Google Play. Trigger the deals with Gun Dealio. GunDealio.com.
In the field or on the range, you need a trigger you can trust. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. A Timney trigger could mean the difference between a great shot and a miss. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. To order, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
The .45 Auto, also known as the 1911, is the standard other defensive pistols are measured against. No matter what pistol you carry, techniques developed around the 1911 are vital. You know you need training, and you know your concealed carry class definitely was not training. Now Gun Talk presents an exciting DVD, Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. Tiger's unique training style will have you drawing, moving, shooting, and running your gun better, no matter what style pistol you prefer. At ShopGunTalk.com, you can order our DVDs of Tiger's instruction. ShopGunTalk.com also has a 2-DVD set, including Concealed Carry 1. Get both for the information you know you need. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com has DVDs, books, and other essential gear. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
All right, for Shorty, our last caller, people have pointed out and said, hey, you know, they do make aftermarket bolts that are offset so you could mount a regular rifle scope on that Mosin Nagant. So just food for thought, a possibility for you. Justin is in Little Rock, Arkansas on one. Justin, what you working on?
Hey, man, just started, well, actually, I finished it this weekend, 10.5-inch AR-15 pistol. And for, finalizing all that, just kind of curious on how the 26-inch overall length applies to the AR-15 pistol for legal as a
all right, let me jump in. The 26-inch length requirement is for rifles. If you have a pistol, and it is an AR-15 pistol, it never started life as a rifle, then it's a pistol, and you don't have to worry about that. If it was ever a rifle and you want to go shorter than 26 inches overall or shorter than 16 inches on barrel length, and then it becomes a short barrel rifle, and you have to do the NFA info and tax on that.
Because I ended up with an overall length about 27, 28 inches. And for a reason I was calling, I said they're getting conflicting info on it, saying that if it's over 26 inches long, not count the muzzle brake, that you can use a vertical grip on it, stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that until, yeah.
Well, now, let me ask you, how did this gun start? Was it originally a rifle or a pistol?
No. Strip lower, strip upper, strip. It was registered as a other on the 473 form.
Okay, and I don't know. I'll have to bail out because I think I'm getting in over my head in terms of, I know that if it's a pistol, you can't put a vertical forearm on it. If it is a short barrel rifle, you can. You don't have this one registered as an SBR, I take it.
No. It put a vertical on there. He's got it as another weapon, AOW or something, OAW.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Now you're getting into a whole different world. I got to tell you, honestly, I do not know the answer to your question. And somebody can call in and help me out here quickly, and we'll get it all sorted out. 866-TALK-GUN. If you keep listening. Also, of course, we could even discuss that on the after show if somebody wants to call in. Speaking of the after show, the whole GunDealio app, I walked into a wild bird center yesterday to get some bird seed and a bird feeder. And the guy immediately starts talking to me. He recognized me. He immediately starts talking to me about guns and everything. And we're talking about the GunDealio app. And I was pulling it out and showing him, all the stuff that it does. And he said, yeah, I need to get a phone. I got this stupid phone that doesn't have enough memory for all the apps I have on it. I said, yeah, that is a problem. You got to have, as we get more and more cool stuff for our phones. But one of the things the GunDealio app will do for you is you can actually listen to the after show with it, because you can listen to all the Gun Talk radio shows as well as see a whole lot of our videos there. But, obviously the main thing it does is get you good deals, prices, the specials that you may not hear about. It's like, I just went on the, Springfield Armory website. They're giving away, it's either 2 or 3 magazines. You got to look at it. And all of that is on the GunDealio app. You say, well, what are the deals going on? Oh, if you buy an XDS, you get extra magazines. Well, cool. I didn't know about that. If you buy the Smith & Wesson deal, there's a cool deal going on there. So, just GunDealio is free. It works on an iPhone or an Android. So all you have to do is go to the Google Play, Google Store, App Store, and then on iPhone, it's the App Store. Honestly, it's easier. Just go to GunDealio.com. We've got all the information there. Elton's on line 3 out of Arkansas. Elton, got about a minute for you. Dive in, please.
Yes, sir. Last week, had the pleasure of shooting the new 6.5 Precision at the ranch, and had some guys shooting that thing out at 700 yards, as far as I went with it. And they were shooting, they started at 16-inch targets, went to 12, and went to 9. Shooting the gauntlet.
Holy cow. At 700 yards?
Yeah. Not every shot, of course, but,
right.
It's capable of amazing accuracy. It's a serious gun. It's got a great adjustable stock, unlike anything anyone's ever seen before. But if someone's looking for a serious firearm along that line, let me tell you, that's where they ought to go. This was
at the FTW ranch?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously Ruger was out there doing some testing of it. I know they go out there do some of their preliminary work. Mm-hmm. So, but it's a cool looking rifle. It
looks different.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you what, it's a real machine.
It really is. I thought they were going to announce that tomorrow, is what I was told, and then all of a sudden the releases come out Friday. So somebody may have decided early on, or maybe word was starting to leak, and they said, okay, we'll just get this word out. So we're supposed to get ours tomorrow. I got to tell you, I'm not even sure which caliber it's coming in. I hope it's in the 6.5 Creedmoor, though, because that's kind of the coolest of the long-range calibers these days. Less recoil, and you can use those very long 6.5 bullets with high ballistic coefficient. Eldon, thank you very much. I appreciate that. FTW Ranch, by the way, if you want to learn how to shoot long-range with a rifle, you would have a hard time finding a place that's better than that up in the hill country of Texas. You can just check it out, FTW Ranch. You can also watch Gun Talk, our television show, because we did a really neat show there this year, and that'll be airing before too long. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. Still got time to get you in. Give me a holler. This is Gun Talk. I'm Tom Gresham.
Even though today's radio show is winding down, if you're on hold, stay there. Tom will pick your call up during the Gun Talk After Show. It's an on-topic, off-topic free-for-all coming up right after today's broadcast.
All right, back with you. I do get by with a little help from my friends, and sometimes I'll call for help, say, hey, I don't know that. Well, Gary knows, line 2 out of Bossier City. I need some help with this whole NFA short barrel rifle thing. Gary, help me out.
Well, I own one. I own an AR platform chambered at 9mm with a 7.5-inch barrel on it. Now, to have that weapon has to start out as what they can say is on the form. It can say multi, or it will say rifle, or it will say pistol. Mine started out as a multi, which allows me to build it to a registered short barrel rifle. Filled out the form. You have to include the caliber, barrel length, apply for the stamp. It can have a buttstock on it because that's part of the rules. It can have a forward grip on it. But if you take one that starts out as a rifle with a barrel length of 16 inches out of the box, you change the barrel to something shorter, you've broken the law. If you shorten a barrel, if you take a pistol, put a buttstock on it, you've broken the law. You have to make pretty narrow parameter right there as far as if it starts out as a 16-inch rifle, you cannot make the modifications to shorten the barrel without having you, because it has to be started. You can register it then if you fill out the form, but you can't just make one and have it a rifle. That would be.
But you can do it. It can start as a rifle, and you can put a short barrel on it as long as you register it as an SBR. Is that correct?
That's correct. But you cannot take a pistol, and put a buttstock on it or a forward grip. That makes it AOW then.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. And it is confusing for those of us who don't live in that world all the time. And I'm actually trying to get more into that world. I've got a small collection of suppressors going. I don't have any SBRs. I think I'd like to have that. It's one of those deals that for years I said, I don't want one of those. And then you go, well, maybe I do now. So maybe you get an SBR, throw a can on it, and now we're having some fun. So I appreciate that, Gary. Let's see. Bill, line 3, you got 1 minute, please, if you would. Go ahead, Bill.
Yes. Here a while back, I met this young lady that works at a bank where I bank, and she said she had a 12-year-old son that didn't shoot, and she'd like to get him into it. And her husband wasn't the outdoor type, so he didn't take him. So anyway, I told her to come out to my place. I've got a shooting range at my house. So she came out with her son, and he went through the safety with both of them and everything. And finally, I took him out to shoot, and I said, here, told her, handed her a gun. I said, here, you might just well shoot too. So she went through one clip and looked at me. She said, I like this.
That's great. So she liked it. So did she end up, you say she ends up being a teacher, teaching to shooting?
I got her to shoot. She works at the bank where I work.
Oh, okay.
I don't work at the bank. I go to the bank. I don't work there. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. Okay, you ended up teaching the mom to shoot as well as the youngster. That is a great range story, man. Bill, thank you so much for that. It happens that way a lot. You start the youngster out, and the parents go, well, I'll try that too. And they go, hey, this is kind of fun. Of course, I always want to say, well, yeah, why do you think we do this? It's fun. I mean, it really is. Don't forget, hey, at its core, shooting is fun. We go out to the range, we try different guns, we try different optics, we try different ammo, we do lots of different stuff. It's just all fun. If you haven't gotten into competitive shooting, try different things. Try 3-gun, try sporting clays, try something else. It's all good. If you've got a range report or story for us, call me right now. We'll get you in on that after show. Our number, 866-TALK-GUN. We'll get you there, 866-TALK-GUN. If you have a problem with your gun, call me. I'll make up something. We'll figure out some way to fix it. I'll guarantee you. One way or the other, we're going to get that thing fixed. In the meantime, have yourself a safe week. Check your 6. Be alert. Live in condition yellow, at least.